I was sitting in my Seattle office when my phone buzzed. Unknown South Carolina number. I almost declined it. Ms. Chin? This is Rebecca Torres from Coastal Property Management in Myrtle Beach. We need to verify ownership of 2847 Ocean Boulevard before processing rental agreements. Your brother Jake listed himself as property owner, but county records show your name on the deed. Can you clarify? My stomach dropped. The beach condo. My grandmother's final gift to me, left specifically to me in her will 3 years ago. The place I'd renovated with my own money, the mortgage I paid alone every month. Jake knew this. Everyone knew this. I'm the sole owner, I said slowly. What rental agreements? Rebecca's voice shifted from administrative to concerned. Your brother has been listing the property through our platform since March. He's collected deposits from 14 families. Total bookings through Labor Day. He represented himself as owner and primary contact. March. 4 months of fraud. I felt something cold settle in my chest. Not anger yet, just a crystalline clarity I'd learned in 8 years as a forensic accountant. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was systematic. I never authorized any rentals, I said. Send me everything you have. The email arrived within 10 minutes. Rental agreements with Jake's forged signature claiming ownership. Deposit receipts totaling $8,240. A property management contract he'd signed on behalf of Chin Family Trust, an entity that didn't exist. Marketing photos he'd taken during last Thanksgiving when I'd foolishly given him the spare key. I opened my laptop and pulled up my own files. The deed from probate court recorded in Charleston County. Mortgage statements in my name alone. Property tax receipts I'd paid quarterly for 3 years. Home insurance policy listing me as sole owner and insured party. Then I did what Jake never expected. I looked deeper. My bank accounts showed his Venmo requests over the years. Emergency car repair, $600. Mom's medical bills, $450. Rent shortage, $800. I'd sent the money every time. Because that's what sisters do. That's what family does. Except the emergencies were lies. I found his Instagram from those same dates. New jet ski the week of the car repair. Vegas trip during Mom's medical crisis. Designer sneakers when he claimed he couldn't make rent. The ghost ledger writes itself in moments like these. You don't need a spreadsheet to calculate the cost of trust. Every dollar I sent, every lie I believed, every time I chose faith over evidence. Each one a small death of discernment. The price wasn't money. It was the years I spent thinking I had a brother who occasionally struggled, when really I had a con artist who occasionally remembered my name. I called my attorney. Sarah Martinez had handled my grandmother's estate. She knew the property's history, knew it had been left solely to me because Grandma had watched Jake waste every dollar she'd ever given him. Wire fraud, Sarah said immediately after I explained. The moment he collected money across state lines for a property he doesn't own, he crossed into federal territory. How much has he collected? Over $8,000 in deposits. God knows how much more he planned to collect through summer. I'm sending you to a colleague who specializes in real estate fraud. Meanwhile, don't contact Jake. Don't warn him. Let him think everything's fine. That was the hard part. Playing normal while building a case. Jake called that evening, his voice cheerful. Hey sis. How's Seattle? Busy, I said. You? Actually amazing. Got a little side business going. Investment thing. Finally getting my finances together. Investment thing. I pressed my phone against my ear and said nothing. Anyway, Jake continued, I was thinking about visiting you in July. Could I crash at your place for a week? July's not good, I said quietly. I'll be busy. I would be. I'd be in South Carolina standing in a courtroom watching my brother explain to a federal magistrate why he thought stealing was an investment strategy. The property management company moved fast. Rebecca Torres wasn't just concerned, she was furious. 14 families had planned their summer vacations around a property they'd never actually secured. Children's beach trips. Anniversary celebrations. Family reunions. We run title verification on all new properties, Rebecca explained over video call, her office visible behind her. Neat, professional, angry. It's standard procedure. But your brother provided a fake trust document. It looked legitimate enough that our initial screening passed it. When we requested owner authorization for insurance purposes, that's when the county records showed the discrepancy. She'd already filed a report with local police. Already contacted the families with refund checks from the company's insurance bond. Already flagged Jake's account across every rental platform in the Southeast. The families are made whole, Rebecca said. But Miss Chin, your brother collected money under false pretenses. That's fraud. And because renters were coming from different states, it's wire fraud. FBI might get involved. Might. That word hung in the air like a promise. The procedural justice system moves slowly, then all at once. First came the civil side. My attorney filed emergency injunction blocking Jake from any claims on the property. We submitted the deed, the mortgage documents, the property tax history, the insurance policy. Every piece of paper screamed sole ownership. Jake's response came through his hastily hired lawyer. He claimed misunderstanding. Said he thought the property was family shared. Argued that Grandma's will was unfair, and he'd been trying to equalize the inheritance. The judge read Grandma's will aloud in court. The section where she explicitly stated, "To my granddaughter Maya Chin, I leave my beach property at 2847 Ocean Boulevard, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, as sole and separate property, in recognition of her responsibility, her character, and her care for me in my final years. This property is not to be shared, divided, or contested. Not ambiguous. Not unclear. Sole and separate." The criminal investigation took longer. FBI doesn't rush wire fraud cases. They build them carefully, brick by brick. Agent Monica Rivera interviewed me twice. Reviewed every document. Traced every payment Jake collected. Cross-referenced his bank statements with the rental agreements. He's been running variations of this scam for years, Agent Rivera said during our second meeting. Different properties, different platforms. Your condo is just the biggest score. He's collected over $40,000 across multiple schemes. I thought of the Venmo request. The emergencies. The struggles. All of it funding what? A lifestyle he never earned. Trips he never deserved. What happens now? I asked. Now we let him think he got away with it, Agent Rivera said. Until we don't. Jake was arrested in July. Not at my condo, he'd never actually set foot there as owner. They picked him up at Mom's house during Sunday dinner, where he'd been bragging about his consulting business to our aunt and uncle. The charges: wire fraud, identity theft, forgery, filing false documents. Federal charges carry weight. His public defender asked about plea deals immediately. I attended the preliminary hearing. Sat in the back row. Jake saw me, his face draining of color. He mouthed something. Maybe sorry. Maybe, help me. I couldn't tell. Didn't care to. The prosecutor laid it out cleanly. 14 families defrauded. $8,240 stolen. Forged ownership documents. False trust entity. Pattern of similar behavior across 3 states. The magistrate set bail at $50,000. Jake couldn't make it. He spent 3 weeks in county jail before Mom mortgaged her house to free him. That hurt worse than the fraud. Watching her sacrifice for his crimes. But she made her choice. I'd made mine. The civil case concluded first. Permanent injunction granted. Jake was barred from making any claims on the property, ever. Ordered to pay restitution of $8,240 plus my legal fees. Another $12,000. He'd pay it in installments for years, assuming he ever could. The criminal case took 8 months. Jake pleaded guilty to reduced charges in exchange for testimony about his other schemes. Federal sentencing guidelines recommended 18 to 24 months. The judge gave him 20 months in federal prison, 3 years supervised release, and ordered full restitution to all victims. At sentencing, the judge said something I'll never forget. Mr. Chin, you didn't just steal money. You stole trust, you stole family memories, you stole your sister's peace of mind. And you did it without hesitation, without remorse, until you were caught. That tells me everything about your character. Jake cried. Asked to address me. The judge allowed it. Maya, I'm sorry. I messed up. I was desperate. Please forgive me. I stood. Looked at him directly. Said 5 words. I forgive you. From distance. Then I walked out. It's been 14 months. Jake's still incarcerated. Eligible for release in 6 months with good behavior. Mom calls sometimes asking if I'll give him another chance when he's out. I tell her the same thing every time. He can rebuild his life. Somewhere far from mine. The condo sits quiet most of the year. I rent it properly now through Rebecca's company. Ironically, she's the best property manager I could ask for. Summer bookings stay full. Families make memories there. The place Grandma left me finally serves its purpose. I visited last month. Walked the beach at sunrise. The ocean was cold, sharp, exactly what I needed. I thought about Jake, about family, about the cost of mercy without boundaries. Grandma knew. That's why she left the property to me alone. That's why her will was so specific, so clear, so protective. She'd watched Jake's patterns for years. Saw what I couldn't see or refused to see. The deed sits in my fireproof safe. My name. Sole owner. Separate property. Some gifts aren't meant to be shared. Some boundaries aren't meant to be crossed. Some people prove again and again exactly who they are. I believe them now.